What's up, YouTube? Wraithyn here on this beautiful Friday, April the 3rd, to bring you my SPL picks of the week. SPL kicks off tomorrow, April 4th at 3 o'clock p.m. Eastern, and it really could not have come at a better time. We're all bored. Teams will not be playing on land for the foreseeable future, which may have an impact on team synergy, but we get high-level SPL content anyway, so who cares, right? Be sure to like and subscribe and all that good stuff so I can pretend to be a real YouTuber. And let's get into the first matchup. Keep in mind here, I only have light information on how the teams are performing, how things are going in scrims, and I'm also making a ton of assumptions on how these teams are going to play. We've not seen any of them perform yet so far, so again, I'm not basing this on anything other than past performances. This will likely change, obviously, as the weeks go by. We get more information, how everybody's playing together, but let's get started. First up, we've got United versus Rival. United is kind of the freshest roster. They have almost a complete team overhaul. You got a couple of people who have played together. You got Variety, you got Hurrywin, who are on Dig, you got Yannick and Snoopy who are on LG. You know, I think this is kind of one of those rosters where I look at it and you've got some people who have performed extremely well, been to the world stage, and then it's kind of a mix of everything else kind of cobbled together. Rival, on the other hand, is basically the world's runner-up plus Sam for Soccer, who was a world champion MVP, with Captain Twig moving to the mid lane. United might surprise us here, but it's hard to count out a team that makes the worlds and then adds an MVP to their roster. The wild card here, I think, is really Twig in the mid lane. I know he has experience there. I wasn't around for, I guess he played in the mid lane a long time ago. We certainly haven't seen that in a while. We'll see how it plays out. He's certainly a extremely mechanically talented player. He's a very smart player. I think he's made worlds pretty much every year. So I wouldn't count him out at all. Cardiac and Slaney are both amazing coaches. Slaney is fantastic. Cardiac's fantastic. And I'm really excited about this matchup in particular, to see what kind of meta that they can come up with. I'm going Rival 2-0 here, but I would love to be surprised with this new United roster. Next up, we have the Pittsburgh Knights, my hometown team, versus Ghost Gaming. So this was kind of interesting because you have the returning world champs plus Cuvo Fred, who's arguably one of the best junglers in the league, if not the best in my opinion, versus a Ghost Gaming super team, right? We saw this kind of last year with PK. You know, it's a bunch of players who are just so good in their own right. Some have won worlds. I think most of the rosters won worlds at one point or another, plus Biggie, who is a phenomenal coach. You know, versus the returning world champs for all intents and purposes, right? So this one I think is going to be kind of a barn burner no matter what. You know, I think the question here is really, is the Ghost Gaming roster gonna mesh well, right? You got a lot of very interesting personalities on this team, so we'll see you know, how their synergy plays out and whether or not PK has adjusted to their new jungler. I think those are the two variables that are going to make a difference here. I think if Ghost goes down in the first game, that we see a 2-0 from PK. Otherwise, I think PK takes this 2-1, no problem. They're the returning world champs. Chuckles is a phenomenal coach. You know, from what I've heard from them, they have a good grasp on the new meta. I'm going PK here with the underdog vote, according to the rest of the community, but we'll see how this one plays out. Next up on Sunday, the 5th at 3 o'clock p.m. is Sangwan versus Obey. This is the matchup that everybody's talking about. You have pro players like Weekend talking shit about the guys from Latin America. You've got just absolute outrage over the fact that these NA Challenger circuit teams, you know, managed to steal spots from better pro players that, you know, didn't get to play this year or didn't get in the league this year, which frankly I think is just total bullshit. You know, I don't know, out of the gate, like, I want to take the underdog vote here. I love Sangwan as a team. I love what they've done. I love what they did last year, but I'm gonna have to give it to Obey for just a couple of reasons. The first one being is that these guys have consistent SPL experience. It may have been them getting their asses kicked, but they know what to expect from high-level scrims, high-level play. They performed in front of thousands of people on multiple occasions, you know, and they've made some changes to their roster, and what I would believe are the two weaker places, right? So they've added Inbound as a support player. Bobby's phenomenal. He's a very good student of the game. I think that was a strong pickup for them. And they added Wolfie in the mid lane. Wolfie, for 2 years in a row, was the powerhouse player on 2 Worlds runner-up teams. You know, was that what Obey needed to get themselves to a higher level? It was somebody like Wolfie who's got that experience coming in and you know, with that personality to kind of help them get better. I think they're a much stronger roster than they were last year, and with that plus their experience, you know, I think they take the lead over Sangwan in terms of who's going to win. Sangwan, untested. They had one good land run, though I have heard in some whisperings that their scrim performance lately has been absolutely insane. So we'll see how they play when they're in a live environment. They're not on land. I guess they're playing from home. I think that's another factor that may come in for Obey, is that 4 of the 5 guys are actually in the house. Kurt's still up in Virginia. He was planning on flying down for all the lands, so he'll be playing remotely. But I'm going to go Obey 2-0 here, just simply because we've not seen much publicly about Sangwan outside of their 1 Worlds run, which was fantastic. I'm not taking away from that at all, but I have a feeling my confidence in them will increase if what I'm hearing behind the scenes actually comes true. I'm really looking forward to seeing these guys play for the rest of the season. All right, last up, we have SSG versus Renegades. These are 2 extremely interesting teams with loads of potential. You have last year's Renegades team plus Vote. You've got this cobbled together Renegades roster of Solar Patrol, Lasbra, Venenu, Awesome Jake 408, Barracuda, and Roe. This one's going to be a slugfest. I think out of every single set that you should watch this weekend, which you should be watching all of them because we can't go anywhere anyway, this is the one that I think is going to produce the most interesting results. It's going to come down to how this new Renegades roster gels together. I've heard Jake is an absolutely extremely talented player when he's not trolling or disinterested. And with fresh but talented players in Solar Patrol and Lasbra, you know, backed by veterans like Barracuda and Venenu, who are world champions, I think this is going to be, this has the potential to be the upset of the week. The X factor here, the wild card, is definitely Awesome Jake's debut, and whether or not Roe can kind of wrangle these guys into a high performing team. You've got the world champion experience, you got fresh, young, talented blood, you've got a support that's a giant question mark, but I'm taking the underdog here. I think 2-1 Renegades. I think Awesome Jake's gonna come out firing, and I think that the SSG team is gonna underestimate them and end up paying for it. You know, I'm a big fan and friend of Lasbra. I think if he can get some consistency and come out firing and play the way we know he knows how to play, we're going to see some great results out of this team. This is another one that I would watch as the season goes on as well. All right, guys, that's it for my predictions. Let me know what you think in the comments, and tweet at me if you think I'm wrong, full of shit, if you disagree. I want to have a discussion about this, right? Like, who do you think is going to take these? Are you voting with the way that everybody else did on the Smite game app? Who do you think are the underdogs? Who do you think the good matchups are going to be? And what's your most favorite and exciting game of the week? If you're around on Twitch this week, I might be doing a watch party if we're allowed on my Twitch channel. Be sure to drop by, say hi, we can discuss it. I'm actually going to try and kind of break down the game for more like newer or less experienced players that aren't going to get the higher level commentary. So I'd love to see you there. Again, if we're allowed to stream it. Thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe, and I will see you on the next video for next week's matchups.